6 years is long enough to build an entirely different life. New city, new name, new rhythms that almost let you forget who you used to be. Almost. Because the past doesn't just disappear. It waits, quiet and patient, with claws sharp enough to reopen scars you thought had long since healed. I betrayed my husband, Daniel. With a man I should have run from the moment, he offered comfort in place of respect. My boss, Richard. It wasn't a plan, wasn't some calculated unraveling. It happened slowly, like a trickle that became a flood. At the time, Daniel was working 2 jobs, pulling long hours, shoulders always tense, eyes always tired. He barely had time to sleep, let alone notice how lonely I'd become. And Richard, he noticed, he knew how to look at me, how to speak in ways that made me feel visible again. I mistook his attention for affection, his manipulation for warmth. That lie lasted 3 months. Daniel found the messages late one night. He said nothing. No shouting, no accusations. Just a quiet, devastating stillness. He packed a single bag, closed the door behind him, and never came back. I begged. I cried. I collapsed in doorways and left voicemails that went unanswered. 2 weeks later, divorce papers arrived. I signed them with trembling fingers, every stroke of ink a silent confession. By then, Richard had already moved on to another woman at the office. The shame sank into my bones and made a home there. I quit that job, moved across state lines, started over somewhere no one knew my name. But guilt doesn't respect geography. It followed me like a shadow I couldn't outrun. I tried dating, pretending I still knew how to connect. But I sabotaged every kindness, every honest gesture. Part of me believed love was something I'd forfeited forever. Nights stretched long and quiet. I'd lie in bed and think about Daniel, where he might be, who he might be with, whether someone held his hand the way I used to. I hoped he was happy. I told myself he deserved it, even if I didn't. Then, one evening at a business conference in Boston, I saw him. He was across the room, deep in conversation, dressed in a tailored navy suit that made him look older, sharper, like life had shaped him into someone even more solid than I remembered. My heart caught somewhere between my ribs. I froze, unsure if it was really him. But I'd never forget that face, or the pain I'd etched into it. I ducked behind a cluster of attendees, pulse racing, palm slick. Every nerve screamed for the exit. But fate has a cruel sense of timing. Moments later, I turned a corner, and there he was, just standing there, quiet and steady, looking right at me. His expression held no fury, no softness, just a kind of calm distance that felt more piercing than either. "Hi, Daniel," I whispered, voice cracking under the weight of 1,000 regrets. He gave a slight nod. "Amanda," that was it, my name on his lips, the same way it used to sound at 2 a.m. after long days and quiet dinners. I expected him to walk away. Instead, he tilted his head toward a bench in the hallway. "You have 5 minutes." We sat. Silence stretched between us, taut and fragile. I struggled to breathe, let alone speak. Finally, I managed, "I'm sorry." My voice trembled. I've wanted to say that for so long. I just didn't know if it would even matter anymore. He studied me, unreadable. "It mattered then," he said quietly. "Now, I'm not sure." Tears gathered at the corners of my eyes. I never stopped regretting it, not for a single day. He leaned back, arms folding across his chest. "Why?" I swallowed hard. Because I felt invisible. I was lonely, but that's not an excuse. You were killing yourself to keep us afloat, and I chose someone else. He didn't flinch. Just finished the sentence for me. "You chose him." "Yes," I breathed, and I lost everything. He looked away, jaw tight. "Do you still think about it?" "Every day." The hallway around us buzzed with movement, voices, laughter. But all of it blurred into nothing. "I'm married now," he said after a long pause. Something inside me tightened. Still, I forced a smile. "She's lucky." "Her name's Alina," he said. "We have a daughter. She's 5. I nodded, blinking fast. "That's beautiful." He hesitated, then asked, "Did you ever love me, Amanda?" There wasn't a trace of hesitation in me. Yes, I did. I never stopped. He looked almost startled, but not softened. Then why didn't you fight for us? I lowered my eyes. Because I thought I didn't deserve you. I still don't. He stood slowly. I stood too, brushing away a tear I didn't want him to see. I hope you're happy, I said, voice thick. Truly. He gave another quiet nod. I am. I hope you find peace too. And then he walked away. No bitterness. No final glance. Just quiet steps fading into the crowd. I stood there long after he'd gone, staring at the spot where he'd vanished. And somewhere beneath the ache in my chest, something unknotted, a weight I'd carried for years lifted. Not completely, but just enough. Maybe forgiveness didn't always come in words. Maybe sometimes it came in silence, in a nod, in the closing of a door that no longer had to stay open. Maybe that was enough.